Welcome to the Rising Consciousness Show, 20 minutes of soulful insights and powerful tools to elevate your life experience and create with higher clarity, intention, and vision. I'm Tara Antler, intuitive healer and soul coach.
And I'm King Gabriel, spiritual teacher and practitioner. And we are the co-founders of Ascension Academy of Light,
a global center for spiritual growth, intuitive healing, and soul alignment.
Get ready to blast off. Hello.
So grateful to be here with you. We felt a spontaneous call to record this podcast episode. We have a slight topic in mind in terms of evolution, and that there definitely is a rise in consciousness, being that that is something that's inevitable right now. And where this all got started was I posted something. Well, actually, let me back up a little bit. Yeah, Facebook, you know how it gives you these beautiful reminders. 8 years ago today, 5 years ago today, 3 years ago today. Well, I got one of those today, and it said 8 years ago today, and there was this post with a quote that I had created. And you know when you forget some of the things that you do, and you forget the time that you do them, and you forget when certain things happen.
And then they pop back up like a big surprise.
Right? And I was like, whoa, That was 8 years ago? Holy cow. But it makes sense because I was pregnant with Aria.
Yeah.
We were in the backyard, living in Barrie, and like newly pregnant.
Yeah.
And this drop down came around what we were going to be creating, and that there was going to be this huge A energy again was coming in, and it was ascension. And we were like,
and
ascension.
She says again because it came in once before that, years before, and we
were like, what do we do with this,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes that can happen when you are a visionary, when you are a light leader, and that's what we call our light leaders, our leaders who are leading with the light and with creator, with the divine.
Yes.
You get these big visions sometimes, and you don't know what they mean, and you don't know what they're for as yet, but you just know it's big.
And you know it must get done.
Yes. And so this dropped down when I was newly pregnant with Aria, and Gabriel and I sat there and we were like, okay, it's time. This is it. And we had already landed within Academy of Light. That was something that dropped down many, many, many years prior to that.
Yeah.
And we thought, maybe do we let go of Academy of Light to take on Ascension? Or what do we do with this? And then it just made sense to blend it all together to say Ascension Academy of Light. Now, we didn't know back then the course which we were about to take or walk.
Yeah.
We just chose it. We accepted it. It came down as a vision, and we accepted it. And I think this is what's happening for a lot of people right now, and maybe has been happening for several years. Just we get these really big drop downs sometimes, and we don't know what to do with them, but we know that they're big. And a lot of times if we don't know what to do with them right away, people might abandon them. They might put them to the wayside. They may not accept them fully, which I feel does a huge disservice to the energy that drops down, because in that moment you were ready to receive something. You were ready to receive something big.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
And when you receive that something big too, the choice then is yours to either follow through or leave it alone. And what we've found is that when we don't follow through, right, eventually what happens is the idea will be picked up by someone else for them to move with and make the change that is necessary, which is being called for at that point in time. Or we will come right back around to it later on, right? Because it's been pressing its calling. It calls you. And then, you move on it and you realize the difference it actually makes through the people you touch and inspire and move into taking action in their lives, which is what happened with this whole Ascension Academy of Light idea. It became something real. And Ascension is something real to us. And the academy in which we teach this information that helps people to move past the challenges that they may face, even from the problems of just joining and thinking about how will I progress spiritually, and then the challenges of being a huge business owner or a mega entrepreneur or leader, and having to help your staff or the people that you work with to be able to move forward and feel inspired and taking action towards fulfilling the goals that your organization has as well. So these are the ways in which we've worked with this idea, and it was just an idea at the start, right? Just an idea. Yeah.
And I think I was going to say, add on to that, is sometimes when you put that idea on the back burner, or you put in your back pocket for a rainy day, or when spirit comes knocking in and says, look, like, do you want to ignite this? Do you want to take this forward or not? Because if not, I am going to move it on to somebody else. And many times if we say yes to it, it might have a new evolution. It might have a new vision. It might have a new layer to it that might look different than the original drop down that came. And I feel like that's kind of what happened to us, was that there was this drop down that came. We thought, okay, we're going to create this physical space, a physical center. And do you remember how many meetings we had? We had this conscious collective, and we were having meetings where we're like, okay, we're going to create a space. Where do we want to do this? Where are we going to host the space? Okay, we feel like it's supposed to be in Toronto. Not our favorite place in the world to be, but that's where we felt the energy was calling us. So we even went as far as looking at, do you remember we went and looked at a couple buildings that we thought about maybe purchasing in Toronto or looking at renting, and actually start this center of the Academy of Light. And there was such an energy around it back then that is still present today. Like anytime we talk to somebody about the Ascension Academy of Light or Academy of Light, there's this buzz, there's this energy around it. And again, that's, I feel, a creator. That's a divine something. That's something else beyond Gabriel and I that is holding that energy and holding that space. And I feel like many of you might have this, where you get these big visions, these big dreams, these big drop downs, and you're not sure what to do with them. And if you can actually receive it and say yes to it, then the next piece will unfold. The layers will uncover themselves. And because there's an energy to it that's bigger than us.
And that's the beauty of it right there. It is bigger than us. And it pulls us into being more than we see ourselves as at the point in time as well. Because think about the amount of change that has happened in us to become who we've become to represent that idea. There's huge change. Me? I was Mr. Sit down and meditate all day long. That was my plan, right? I was happy just meditating all day long and chilling. I didn't want to really go talk to people or say anything for that matter. I was quite content with that. And look at what I allowed myself to become in order to represent this idea and to be able to speak and communicate the ideas in efficient ways or effective ways that allowed people to transform their lives. On a daily basis, we hear thank yous from people for exactly that, right? So we had to become, to learn the skills to become that idea or to express that idea clearly, right?
And that's where there's a bit of what I would call a growing into or growing up into that experience. Some people will call it catching up, but I don't really think it's catching up so much as it is us just growing into what we need to become. It's like a toddler learning how to walk. It has to grow into its body to have certain muscles and certain brain connections happening and physiological things going on in order for it to go from sitting to crawling to standing to walking to running. There's an actual process that has to happen, an evolution within the self. And I feel the same is true when it comes to a big idea or the next evolution, the next version of who we are. There is a growing into that we have to do. We have to take that journey. And I think it's one of the most it's not that it's even, maybe it's challenging. Sometimes it's challenging. Sometimes it's fearful. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's so unknown
it's
that people just don't even want to take that journey. They're like, like I have no idea. It's so big and so unknown that I have no idea what that's going to entail. So I'm not going to do it. And then we go back to our comforts. And I feel like we're in a time right now where our comforts are pushing us. They're moving us. They're saying, hey, you got to get uncomfortable now. You got to grow.
That's exactly what's happening now. If you stay comfortable in a specific situation for a length of time and something's calling you, your comforts start to become uncomfortable.
Totally.
Because growth is calling you. And then you start getting a push instead of a pull, right? It's like things start happening and you're like, geez, why is this happening to me? You know what? We were comfortable, right? And sometimes we have to respond, or the universe, source, creator has to act in different ways to get us to move, to get that move on, right?
And so I always say it's better to take the step consciously than be pushed. Let the pull you instead of something push you, because the push is so uncomfortable.
The push is not fun. Nobody likes the push energy. It's really uncomfortable.
And I think there's some things that we can do to help ourselves. First, recognizing that we are in this evolution era. That's what I wrote down as a key note that I wanted to bring forth, was that we are in this time of evolution. It is an evolution era. We can't keep repeating history. I think so many of us, especially if you're conscious and awake to what's been really going on the planet in the last 3 years plus, we cannot repeat history anymore. Gabriel and I were talking about this the other day. We were sitting in the sunshine and I said, gosh, like, I feel like I've had so many incarnations on this planet. I've been here so many times. I have such a love and an affinity for this earth. And at the same time, I'm ready for something different. I feel so called to really activate the heaven on earth codes within each person, because that's what was active within me when I got here. And I felt like I came here to be like, we're not doing the same old, like we're not going to repeat history here. We came here for a very different reason, for a very different time, to actually participate in the evolution era instead of falling back into, well, we're just going to do the same old thing that we've been doing for thousands of years and let history repeat itself over and over and over and over. I think that wheel is done. It's so well used. It's falling off the freaking hinges right now, you know? Like,
yes, 100%.
Right? So I think that we have to start looking at everything a little bit differently right now, knowing that there is this evolution era that we're in. So what does that mean? Like, if we're in evolution, that's growth, that's change, that's getting uncomfortable, that's being willing to stop and say, you know, maybe this isn't working. Like, maybe something has to shift. Maybe I need to grow. Maybe I need to up level.
Maybe I need to learn new skills.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to be more receptive and open to change, willing to learn new things, right? We got to learn. Learning is a part of the whole evolutionary process as well. You know, we are light, yes. But when we come here and we forget we are light, we have to learn that all over again, in a sense, while we're here. So the people that are here, like Tara and everyone else that is here, that has that urge to help, we're lighting the place up. We need to be here doing that. That's how we lift the space, right? So really and truly, when you have those beautiful ideas come true that you call downloads, or you call uploads, or whatever you want to call them, right?
The drop downs.
Right? Drop downs, or all that stuff, right? That's stuff for you to plug into and bring here to make the place brighter.
Yeah.
Are we making the place brighter? That's what we're here to do, right? So that's the business.
And this is happening everywhere. This is happening not just in the spiritual world. I think that 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even, primarily in the spiritual world, the healers world, the soul coaching world, that was already happening. I think a lot of people were like, I know I'm here to make a difference. I know I'm here to help. I know I'm a light worker. I know I'm here to make a big impact. Well, guess what? Now the rest of the world is catching up to that because everybody's talking about this now. It doesn't matter what industry, what your beliefs are. We had an interesting conversation. We went and got the boys' passport photos renewed the other day, or updated. And I was shocked that we would find ourselves in a evolutionary conversation with the people that were there. I was totally shocked. And this is happening everywhere. Even with the owner of the store, who I've known for so many years. He's the owner of an art gallery and a jewelry studio. And he's known me since I was really little, like really, really, really little, when we first moved to the area. And he was sharing with me a conversation about his brother who wasn't well and had all these diagnoses. And the doctors basically said, like, you're going to die. That's it. Like, you're done. And got him to the point where they actually convinced him to get the euthanasia. Is that how you say it?
To be euthanized.
And I was shocked. I'm standing there. Gabriel's like, kids, come this way.
Yep, I took the kids on a detour to the other parts of the store, so they didn't have to hear all that, you know.
And I knew exactly. So I was like, I'll just stay here and focus on this conversation. And Gabriel took the kids away because he was going into detail about some of the things that were going on. And I was shocked. I'm like, what? Like, you're not even giving people a chance anymore. And so he basically said, well, if I'm going to have this done, he had it scheduled. There was an appointment coming. He had it scheduled to happen in like 4 days or 2 days or something like that. And thought, well, I might as well go off all these medications, because what's the point? Like, what's the point of being drugged up and on morphine and everything else that he was on? And his brother said it was a bag of meds he was on, a bag, like no exaggeration. And so he stopped taking it all. And within 24 hours, he woke up. And it was like he experienced some sort of miracle, some sort of rebirth. He woke up and he felt like he was 40. And then he thought, okay, well, this is a fluke. So the next day comes, the same thing. He calls the doctor and says, I think I'm going to postpone that appointment. I think I'm not going to go that route as yet. I'm feeling really good. And they're like, okay, well, fine, whatever. I mean, they let him, right? Like, this is the control craziness that I just shake my eyes and roll my head. Or shake my head and roll my eyes.
Roll your head and shake your eyes.
Because
I can actually shake my eyes, by the way.
It's so crazy. I'm actually speechless. I'm dumbfounded by it, because I'm like, I can't believe this is where we are. And so this carried on for days. And he said he had a complete miraculous turnaround, to the point where he went to the doctors and he said, look, like, I need you to retest me on everything. So they retested everything. He's got perfect blood pressure, 120 over 70. His heart is functioning properly. His digestive system, his blood work came back clear. His white blood cells were at the proper level that they were supposed to be. His whole body immune system was functioning like as if nothing had ever happened. And he's looking at me and he's like, well, he's like, he's very French too. So he says, he's like, you talk about these miraculous things all the time. He said, something happened.
Yep.
Something happened. And so he says to the doctor, well, how do you explain this? You're about to euthanize me.
Exactly.
And now I'm better. How do you describe that? How do you make sense of that? And the doctor said, I don't know. I guess divine intervention. And we had this really powerful conversation in those few moments. And this is why I'm saying everyone is starting to get with this conversation that there is a higher power, there is a higher energy, there is a higher path, that anything and everything is possible. Miraculous turnarounds can happen in a second.
Yep.
And sometimes was he praying? I don't know. Was he meditating? I have no idea. Was it a divine intervention? Quite possibly.
100.
But this is incredible stuff that's happening. So this is why I'm saying everyone now is upping the conversation. And I did a post just last night. I felt this call and I said, I had this wave of excitement and I heard in my head, wow, I'm really excited for what comes next, because a rise in consciousness is inevitable at this point. Yeah. And that's what I feel, that's where I feel we're at. With all the crazy stuff that they're even wanting to reinitiate, which I'm not going to breathe life into, this whole thing, especially over the last 3+ years, has been the ultimate divine design to push people into not only waking up, but shifting their consciousness. And realizing what's possible. And then moving themselves into evolution and be like, what if I did change my life? What if I change things radically? What if?
And then if something like that does happen, it also puts you in the place of, so what's really possible? What's really possible? Despite all I've learned, despite all I've been schooled in, what is really possible for us as the beings we are? That's a good question to start asking, right? Not the idea of, oh, this is impossible or that is impossible, but what's really possible? What's on the other side of all of this stuff that's been in the way all this time? Get curious, right?
Yeah, and this is a great place to start, because I really feel like what's about to happen next, there is a definite rise happening. And that requires each of us to play our part, to ask these curious questions, to go a little deeper, to go a little higher. We're actually going to be having a really powerful workshop coming up. We're not sure of the name of it as yet, but it's going to be happening middle to end of September.
Yes.
And it's all designed around you waking up to the next level of, why are you here? What did you come here for? Why are you here? What's that next level for you? What does it look like? What does it feel like? So we invite you, if you're curious, if you want to go that next step, find us on social media. Send myself or Gabriel a private message and just say, hey, I'm interested in this upcoming workshop that you have going on. Like I said, we don't know what the name of it is yet. It hasn't dropped down. We just know it's going to be powerful, and it's very timely right now, because so many people, even within our community, are asking, what is happening? I'm feeling this bigger call. I got to up level. Something big is coming and I don't know what it is as yet. And we're all feeling it. We're feeling it as well. And we're personally moving through it. And we just moved through this huge up-leveling in our own spirituality and spiritual awareness. There's going to be an up-leveling happening within our own company and business. And I want to circle back around to this quote, because 8 years ago was when we initiated again the idea, dropped down fully, Ascension Academy of Light. And I feel like we're in this rebirthing. And Gabriel and I love 8s. 8 has always been this energy of infinite, the infinity, a high vibration, creation.
Yep, I was born into this world with 8s on the mind. I have 8 all up in my numbers, all over the place too. So for me, it's very significant, 8 and 3. But 8 right now is the focus. And that's that abundance, that infinite nature of the being, right? Infinity. 8 on the side looks like an infinity. And it's mainly that idea of our eternal life we're looking at here. Eternal abundance, prosperity. And not prosperity in the term of money or anything like that mainly, but prosperity in the terms of living fully, living and embracing the abundance of life, the light, the goodness that we're bringing to the world and sharing in the world, making a difference, making a change. So that might be very prominent in the workshop that's coming up as well, right? And we're definitely going to dive into that fully and allow you to expand to the heights that you have in mind for yourself as well.
100%. So again, if you want more information about that, or you want to be put on the list for when we actualize it and we say, hey, it's happening, this is when it's going on, just find us on social media, send us a private message, send us an email. I'll put a link below in the show notes as well. And I want to leave you with this quote though, because it was really powerful when I stopped for a second and I read it and I was like, wow, 8 years ago today. And it just so happened to fall right at the beginning of something. So we've had this amazing business coach for the last 4 years now, and she's just initiated her next era, her next expansion. And I jumped into something in a conversation with her about exactly this. When you want to up-level your business, your leadership, what does that look like? What do you have to go through? What are you unraveling? And it was just such a powerful moment where everything kind of came together, because I've been sitting in this space feeling like something was about to shift and grow and change in a really positive way for us as a family, in our business, what we're up to, how we're teaching, what we're teaching. And this is exactly when the quote popped back up. So the quote is, today is a great day to dream bigger, or dream a new dream, and let the universe catch it and co-create it, and then gift it back to you. And so I was sitting there reading it, and I read it a few times, and I felt the essence and the energy of it. And I really feel like it so accurately represents what so many of us are moving through. So many of you have gone through changes already, changes in your life, your vocation, changes in family, changes in how you relate to each other and relate to yourself. And this is such a powerful time now for us to be able to up level in every way possible.
And yes, the universe does gift it back to you, and sometimes in unexpected ways. You might have this definite plan as to how it's to be returned, but the way that it serves you best, the way that works best for you or is most useful to you, is the best way for it to be returned. Not the way that you might think is the best way necessarily, but the way that is actually most useful. And that's what the universe does for us. We might be looking for it from Sue or Peter or Paul or Jim or whoever, when really it's supposed to come another way completely. And that is the quickest way there. So we do have to be open to that as well. And that's what we'll be discussing and moving into in the workshop that we're going to do soon. We're going to get into the various ways in which the universe can just shine light on your situation and make it amazing, right? Opening yourself up to those miracles and being able to accept them more graciously so that your life is transformed more quickly. Yeah.
Awesome. So I hope this has resonated. I hope this has brought you some clarity in terms of where you might be at too, because we're going through it. We're going through some up leveling as well. I know many of our clients are going through it. A lot of the world is going through it. You're exactly where you need to be. If you're feeling this evolution, expansion, change, you're exactly where you need to be. You're on point.
Yep. Growth is natural. And you want to allow yourself to keep it natural.
Keep it natural, baby. Keep it natural.
All right.
Awesome. Have such a beautiful day. Sending so much light to you again. If you want to come and join us in this upcoming workshop that we have, just find Gabriel or I. Send us a private message. Say, yes, I want to be on the list to find out when it's going to be happening. And we'll send all the details to you. Have a beautiful day.
See you soon. Eternal love and infinite peace.
Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of the Rising Consciousness Show. For more high vibration conversations, meditations, energy activations, and tips and tools on creating your most exceptional life, we lovingly invite you to connect with us at academyoflight.ca. The website is www.academyoflight.ca. It is time to create your heaven on earth experience, and we look forward to sharing this beautiful journey with you.
You're listening to Rising Consciousness. Yeah.
Woo!
Woo!